Hey guys, Meow, it's Kat here, and today I have another story to read. So I'm going to be reading a Zen story, and it doesn't have a title, but it's a birthday special that I made on my Wattpad that goes by Casualanimegirl. So I will leave that down in the description below so you can go and check that out. And so before this whole video starts, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I want to break down this whole story because it took a lot to piece this thing together. It was hectic, so I want to break it down. So for the thumbnail, I used the illustration art for his birthday this year of 2020. And for this whole story, so when you first open the app, you get the art of the birthday, and that's obviously the thumbnail, but usually around events like birthdays or holidays, after you hit that, you'll get these like chats that are exclusive for it. And I went and I read through all of these chats for his birthday, and essentially this whole story is based around all these chat rooms that occurred. Of course, you're like, oh, I'll never be able to read them, which is not true. They occasionally have updates where they have a seasonal section where you can go by and read all these chats, and you can also get the illustration art for that. I don't know when that's going to come out because they put them out in like bunches over time, but that is a thing that they do. If you ever want to go read these or play the game, I would highly recommend it. I've been playing for over a year. It's a great game, great characters, great story. Overall, I enjoy it. But yeah, I all hope you enjoy this story, and let's get into it. You woke up early in the morning with a large smile on your face. You got up and began getting ready to make breakfast for this morning. After all, it was Zen's birthday. Before you started making breakfast, you heard a knock on the door and answered it. A delivery man stood there with a package. You signed off for it and placed it on the counter and began getting ready to make breakfast. Zen walked into the kitchen, seeming to only be half awake. "Good morning, darling," he says, kissing you on the cheek. "Good morning to you, birthday boy," you reply, giving him a sweet smile which made him feel like his fatitude would fade away. Zen gives you a large smile as he wraps his arms around you. "I see you're making breakfast," he says. "Yes, I am." "Oh, also Jaehee sent you something," you say, pointing towards the direction of the nicely wrapped box. "Oh, that's nice of her. Hopefully it's something that doesn't have some type of prank to it. Even though she hasn't ever sent anything bad, it could be from Seven trying something," he says, opening the box carefully, making sure not to drop it. "A selfie stick," Zen says happily. "Oh, that's awesome. We should try to use it today," you say to him. "I'll definitely have to thank Jaehee later," he says, looking at the item with excitement written all over his face. Zen sat down and began looking through his phone with an odd expression on his face. "What's wrong?" you asked. "I have all these texts saying happy birthday and good luck with my career from acquaintances, friends, and even stage directors." "I didn't even tell anyone," he replies, seeming to be scrolling endlessly. Zen put down his phone. "You know, you're the only person who doesn't make fun of me on my birthday. It's really nice," Zen says as he put down a plate of pancakes. He looked down at it in surprise when it had the cutest design of a cat. Zen suddenly began sneezing. "Listener," Zen whined while sniffling. You leaned over the counter, fixing it to look like a dog. "There, all better," you say with a smile. "It still looks like a cat," Zen says, back drinking some orange juice. You both went out for the day, but something was off. While you were out, complete strangers told Zen happy birthday, and when he dropped by rehearsals, everyone told him happy birthday as well. You both now sat at a coffee shop. "What?" Zen said, surprised. "What's wrong?" you asked, trying to look at his phone. "Yusung is saying that everyone at his campus is talking about my birthday," he said in a whisper yell. "How does everyone know?" you asked in confusion. "There's ads on buses and subway stations about my birthday," he says moments later, typing fiercely on his phone. "Including a gigantic screen in the middle of crowded streets? How did this happen?" Zen asks you. I'm not sure. Who would have done it, you mumble to yourself, thinking. You said I'm trending on social media too, Zen says to you. You go and check, and sure enough, Zen was trending everywhere. I'll have to ask if my agency had put them up, Zen says, taking a sip of his drink. Zen suddenly grabbed your shoulders. What if innocent citizens collapse, or even worse, have heart attacks because my birthday advertisements, listener? Zen asked. You rolled your eyes. Zen, I promise you, it's gonna be fine. But I think Jakey might not be able to handle it. And probably me, you mumbled. You were probably mumbling the last part. But you never know, he says, turning his attention back to his phone. Want to go find one, you ask him? Zen throws on his hood and grabs his drink in your hand. You quickly grabbed your drink as well as he led you both out of the cafe. You both eventually found one of these huge ads around town and admired it for a bit. As you looked at it more, you noticed the hashtag 7_0_7. It suddenly clicked in your head who did this. Take a picture for me, will you, darling? Zen asks. You nod your head as he stands in front of it posing. You laugh to yourself. This is definitely my new home and lock screen on my phone, you tell him. Wait, you can do that? Zen questions. Zenny, you're really bad with technology, you tell him. He becomes a bit gloomy. I know, listener, he says, defeated. The next stop was a surprise to you. Zen had taken you to a flower garden called Almond Garden. The flowers were blooming, leaving you in awe, pointing out different ones to Zen. He paid some attention to them, but mostly on you and how fascinated you were. As the both of you were taking pictures in the garden, you were approached by two men who seemed to be disguising themselves as well. One was blonde and the other was a redhead, from what you could tell. Want us to take some pictures for you? Asked the man with red hair. Sure, thanks, Zen said, handing his phone to him. He took a few pictures and soon gave the phone back to Zen. You noticed the blonde one seemed a bit nervous. Thank you, you say, giving the two men a smile. They nodded their heads. The redhead nudged the blonde a bit for some reason. Also, happy birthday, they both said in unison and walked off waving. Zen had yet another odd look on his face. What's wrong, you asked. You could tell something clicked in his head as he began to realize something. Nothing. Let's continue on, darling, Zen says, wrapping his arm around you, and began to walk to a new section of the garden. As you left the garden, you began leading Zen somewhere. Where are we going, darling? Zen questioned you. It's a surprise, you exclaimed. Soon you both stood in front of CNR. What are we doing at this jerk's place? Zen said, a bit disgusted. You'll see, you say, dragging him, in which he tried to keep his feet in place but got dragged by you like a dog on a leash. As you both entered, you went up to the counter to be met with a lady sitting at her computer. Hi, checking in under the name Zen, you say, holding onto Zen's arm in order to make sure he wouldn't try to run off. He looked around the place a bit grossed out. May I have some identification? The lady asked, and you handed her Zen's license. How did you grab that? Zen asked, checking his pockets for his wallet. I'm a bit more sneaky than you might expect, you say, giving him a wink. The lady handed you back the license. If you go to the elevator there, you'll be going to the 13th floor, she said with a smile while handing you two badges. Thank you, you say, walking with Zen, still having to hold his arm. Of course it's the 13th floor, Zen said, irritated. When you arrived at the floor, you walked through some double doors, opening them to reveal. Surprise! Everyone cheered from the RFA. What's this? Zen asked. A surprise party just for you, you replied, kissing him on the cheek. Isn't this just the brunch party later in the day now that I didn't want to go to? Zen asked. Nope, it's a surprise party, you exclaimed. Well, more like a surprise to all of us now since it had to be changed, Seven said. Seven? Zen yelled, irritated. You all enjoyed a good time eating the cake, and Seven tried to have you try a new drink of his called Seven Honey Drink, one of them having a new orange flavor. This left Zen fighting Seven to make sure you wouldn't be drinking it. When presents came along, it included a marble statue, a moss ball, and Jumun gave a scarf that was made of cat hair. Jumun almost got choked out, but luckily everyone made sure the CEO of the company wasn't about to be murdered in his own building. After everything, you said goodbye to everyone and headed off to your next spot. By the end of the day, you both went to Zen's favorite spot that he kept from many people except you and Jumin. You both had a picnic, eating, talking, laughing, having a small food fight occurring, taking selfies with the new selfie stick, and soon enough the sun was setting. As the sun set, you were leaning back onto Zen. You know, it still feels like a dream, Zen says. What feels like a dream, you ask, playing with Zen's fingers. That I get to spend my birthday with you, he replies and gives you a kiss on the cheek. Thank you. Despite me and you being busy as always, and that I only get my birthday and the end of the year off, you are always there for me, and I love that. I love you, my darling, Zen says to you, now kissing your forehead. This made you smile up at him. I also know for a fact that we will always be unbelievably happy. Today and tomorrow and the next day and the day after that, Zen kept continuing to say, while showering you in kisses, leaving you a giggling mess. Well, I all hope you enjoyed, and if you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe for my future uploads. And if you have any character you would like me to read about, leave it down below in the comments, and I will definitely look into it. And until next time, I will see you all later.